Retired Denver, Colorado police officer, and 21.5 years in the Denver Police Department. 18 of those have gone to our department's full-time special weapons and tactics team, so as a SWAT cop. I am a certified firearms instructor. I do have a degree in criminal justice from Metropolitan State University. We call it MIT. Metro in town. I am the former director of training at Metro and Coach International Training Division. I also worked at the 6 Hour Academy. I worked in Baldwin, Arizona at the Gunsight Academy for 25 years. Raise your hand really high if you've ever heard of Gunsight. Yeah. You ever been there? Not yet. What? It's expensive. It is expensive. So it's probably the premier small arms shooting academy in the world. Set up for civilians just like me. I have been a victim of an assault, and I have used deadly force. When I talk about the use of deadly force classes, that usually comes into play. I've also been an expert witness on 2 cases where people just like you and I'm using a gun to protect myself. And then the district attorney decided to file criminal charges against them. So I was part of the as an expert witness for the defense. We were able to get those charges reduced at trial. I am also a lifetime member of the NRA and the United States Concealed Carry Association. Raise your hand really high if you are a USCCA member. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. 6. Hands not very high on there. There you go. There's 2 things I want you to get out of my class today. Number 1, I want you to ask me all the questions that you have about how to make yourself a better shooter. And number 2, take advantage of the training and education offered to members of the USCCA. The fact that they have some other benefits, the training and education is second to none. And so those of you that are members, raise your hand again. You have to go on your back office today and watch Bob's class on the Protector Academy called Low Light Considerations. So I have a class on the Protector Academy for those of you that are members. So you'll see my smiley face. If you're not a member, get you hooked up today. So I want you to become a member if you're not a member. And then also I want you to ask me all the questions you have about what we're talking about. So we're talking about the 4 universal gun safety rules. Number 1, all guns are always loaded. Even if we know the gun is loaded, we're still gonna, even if we know the gun is unloaded, we're still gonna treat it with the same respect as though it were loaded. So safety rule number 1, all guns are always loaded. Safety rule number 2, never point your gun at anything you're not willing to destroy. So we have to recognize that the gun is always pointed in a direction. You have to determine what that safe direction is. So when you come in contact with the gun, figure out what that safe direction is, and you're always going to point your gun in that safe direction. So safety rule number 2, always point your gun in a safe direction. Safety rule number 3, keep your finger off the trigger, outside the trigger guard until you're on target and you've made a conscious decision to shoot. So this is Kathy. She is pointing her gun in a safe direction, but she has her trigger finger straight alongside the gun. We call that position high index. Why do we call that position high index?
Your index finger is above the trigger.
There you go. Index finger is above the trigger. Let me give you this heads up right now, guys. Gun guys aren't real smart. What's the top of that gun called? Anybody know? All right, the slide. Why do we call it the slide? It slides back and forth. What is the function? What's the function of a magazine release button? Releases the magazine. What's the function of the trigger guard? Guards the trigger. Yeah. So gun guys aren't real smart. We're going to call things what they are. So right there, high index. Right. Safety rule number 4: always be sure of your target. What's around it, what's beyond it. So at the shooting range, that's pretty simple. If you've ever been to the shooting range, you got your target. Beyond it, that's going to be like the bullet trap or the impact area. Now let's go to the middle of the parking lot. Are we at Walmart or Costco today? Walmart. Okay. We go to get gas at Costco. So we're in the middle of a parking lot at Walmart. There's a bad guy that needs to be shot like right now. But let's think about this. What's in front of him? What's on either side of him? What's beyond him? Can I say some no-shoot targets? So if you find yourself in a position where you're going to shoot a bad guy, only shoot the bad guy. Do not shoot any good guys. That's a bad thing. If you feel that you might accidentally shoot a good guy, do not shoot. just find yourself in a better position so that you only shoot the bad guy. So these universal safety rules just are not for the range. These are for when you're at home. This is when you're out in public. This is when you're at the shooting range. This is everywhere you go with your gun. You have to live with these 4 universal gun safety rules. We believe that if you live by these religiously, you'll never, ever, ever have a problem with a gun. So let's just review them real quick. Number 1, all guns are always loaded. Number 2, never point your gun at anything you're not going to destroy. Safety rule number 3, keep your finger out off the trigger, outside the trigger guard, until you've made a conscious decision to shoot. Again, we call that position high index. And safety rule number 4, always be sure to target what's around it, what's beyond it. Okay, to be able to shoot well, we have to have a proper grip. So this is my shooting hand on my proper grip. How do I get it? First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure the weapon in my hand, the area between my thumb and my index finger, is as high as it can on the back strap of the gun. My middle finger comes up as high as it can underneath the trigger guard, and I grab the gun like I have a pair of pliers in my hand or a pair of scissors in my hand. So it's a C-clamp grip. It's not grabbing a Coke bottle. It's grabbing a pair of pliers or a pair of scissors. These fingers are pressing the front of the gun into the back of my hand. So it's just like that. Again, my trigger finger is straight alongside the gun, and I grab the gun very, very firm. How tight do we grab the gun? Very, very, very firm. Some instructors will say 60-40, 30-70. As tight as you can. Okay, as tight as you can. Now my support side hand's going to come in. I'm going to take my thumb of my support side hand. I'm going to point it down range. I'm going to lay it against the side of the gun, and I'm going to bring my palm into that open area. Let me go back to this. My palm is going to come into that open area right there on my support side hand. My fingers are going to wrap over each other, and then my thumbs are going to lay on top of each other. That's what it looks like on the other side. I'm going to apply isometric tension. I'm going to push with my shooting side hand. I'm going to pull with my support side hand. I'm going to press my palms together. Push, pull, squeeze. Okay. It's a little early in the morning, but we're going to go drink some tequila this afternoon. We put lemon or lime in our tequila? Lime. Okay. Nothing. We're just going to drink it straight up. Real men. Yeah. Good for you. I love that. So what I'm getting here is I'm going to cut that lime in half. We're going to squeeze that lime juice. Maybe you just want some fresh squeezed orange juice into a glass. We're going to squeeze that juice into the glass. And that's how tight I want you to squeeze. Push, pull, squeeze. This is what it looks like when I look down on top of my gun. My support side thumb, notice the tip of it is directly across from my shooting side index finger, high index, right? Now I have my fingers, my hands in the right position. Shooting stance, we're going to use let me back up. We're going to train the way we fight. So we're going to learn a shooting stance that's going to be very easy. Simple is good. That's a SIG thing. Anybody care to SIG? No, simple is good. It's what we taught at the SIG Academy. So we're going to be simple with our stance. We're going to use a neutral and natural stance. Nothing crazy, just something neutral and natural. So here I got Michael. He's got his feet, shoulders width apart. He's got equal amount of weight on both feet, and he is balanced. His toes are kind of straight on the line. I personally like to shoot with my shooting side foot back just a little bit, but my toes are still facing the line, or facing the target, excuse me. I have a really good friend of mine. He's a competitive shooter. He actually likes to shoot with his shooting side foot forward. It's a very athletic stance. You guys play sports when you were younger? Who plays pickleball now? No, I don't. Okay, so it'd be a very athletic stance. He's got a little flex in his knees. His knees, hips, and shoulders are all facing the target. We're not bladed, we're facing the target. He then takes the gun with the proper grip, he brings it up to eye level, then he leans into the gun. Why is it important that we lean into the gun? Recoil management. Is that what you're talking about? Yep. We're going to control the recoil. If I'm standing up straight, where's that recoil going to take me? Straight back. Okay. And unless I'm shooting a really tall guy, I'll probably end up shooting over the top of his head. So I need to lean into the gun. Getting on the balls of my feet. Now I'm going to align the muzzle to the target. I'm going to look at my sights. I've got my front sight here. Well, let me back up. I've got a bad guy here that needs to be shot like right now. So I bring my gun up to eye level, just like this, and I see those sights. See those sights. I have equal amount of height, equal amount of light on either side. This is what it looks like. Equal height, equal light in between the front sight and the rear sight. So there's three things that we're going to talk about: unsighted fire, target focus, and front sight focus. I am a front sight focus guy, but I have done some target focus shooting. Unsighted fire, I still bring the gun up to eye level, but I'm looking over the top of the gun, pretty much on target focus. So unsighted fire and target focus could almost be the same thing. So here's target focus. Focus on the target, but because I can only focus on one plane in space at a time, everything else is going to be out of focus. So here's my front sight, here's my rear sight, and I have the target downrange. If I'm focused on the target downrange, this is all going to be blurry. Okay? But I'm still seeing the sights. I still can see the sights. This is target, or this is front sight focus. Oops, excuse me. So now the front sight's nice and clear, but the target downrange is out of focus. Again, because we can only focus on one plane at a time. Right? So in this case here, if you can focus on the front sight, you're going to be so much better on hitting the target. But Bob, if there's a bad guy shooting at me right now, isn't it be kind of hard for me to look at my front sight and I go, yeah, absolutely right, because your brain goes, being shot at, and this, by that bad guy right there. So no problem. So what I want you to do, I want everybody to take your thumb and stick it in the air. Okay? I want you to focus on my chest and bring your thumb to your chest, but I want you to focus on me. So we call that target focus. Everybody got that? Say, so bring your thumb up. Nope, keep it up. Now I'm going to start to move. Can you track me with your thumb? Yes, no's for you, Bob.
Yeah.
So even though you are target focused, you can still move your gun using your sights. Now, I want you to bring your thumb up, and I want you to try to focus on that cuticle, that wrinkle in your thumb as hard as you can. Now, my readers are right here, so it's tough for me to do that. I appreciate you guys doing this. Now put your thumb right in the middle of me. But now you're going to notice I am out of focus, yes, and that thumb is in focus, yes. And now as I move, you can still track me, even though you're not focused on me, you're focused on the front side. Cool, put your hands down. So we do a drill called unsighted to sighted fire. It's a string of 5 or 6 rounds, and you start focusing on the target, and then in your second or third round, you start to then zone in and focus on the target and continue your string of fire at the end. So what you've done now is you've gone from target focus to front sight focus shooting. Bob, is that important? Yeah. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and he goes, Bob, do you know any examples of that? And I go, absolutely. I do know an example of that. So we have an officer in Denver. His name is Kenny Oberman. He's my partner for a while. And Kenny, on the SWAT team, Kenny and I were on an entry team, and we were going in after a girl who had been shooting rounds out into the neighborhood. So our negotiators came in. They talked to her for a while, and she didn't want to give up. She didn't want to come out. So we introduced chemical agents, OC gas, And now she's confident hacking, and we go in and we ask her to come out. She doesn't come out. So then we have to go in and get her. So Kenny comes around the corner and she shoots her gun at Kenny, fires a couple rounds. Kenny presents his 1911 45 man killing ACP, fires the first round, and he goes, "Oh my gosh, I know I missed because I am target focused." Came back on the front side and fired 2 more rounds and hit her right here in the chest. So he started unsighted fire, target focus shooting, and then he realized that he needed to come back and focus on the front side. We have learned in combat that if you look at the front side, you're going to be so much better in a gunfight. But if I'm this close to her, there's a really good chance that she could just stick her gun out and she could hit me. Okay. It's just when you get to the distance, further distance, it's so much easier to miss because the gun is doing crazy things and the bullet's coming out the side. So if you can focus on the front side, you're going to be so much better shooting. But again, we teach both unsighted as well as sighted fire shooting. Trigger control is very important, and I'm gonna introduce you guys to a drill. So let me back up. Young lady, could you do me a favor? Take one, pass it on. So there are 2 definitions I need to give you in trigger control. The first one's the break point. Put your finger on the trigger, press the trigger to the rear, and the gun goes. We should call it the boom point. What we don't, we call it the break point. I put my finger on the trigger, press it straight to the rear, and the gun goes right. Next, I'm going to release the trigger until I can feel or hear a mechanical click or clunk. That is known as the reset point. Once my trigger has reached the reset point, I can press it again, make it go bang. I can release the reset point. I can press it again, make it go bang. I can release the reset point. I can press it again to make it go bang. So to help me learn how to do this, we do what's called the ballpoint pen drill. So hopefully everybody's getting a ballpoint pen here soon. I need to grab one. Okay, you're in charge on that. So while we're passing out those pins, any questions that anybody has right now to fill a gap? This makes perfect sense. Okay, cool. For those of us that have a pen, I want you to take your shooting side hand. I'm a right-handed shooter, and I'm going to put the ballpoint clicker on my trigger finger. I'll put my trigger finger on the ballpoint pin clicker. I'm going to press it nice and slow, and I feel a click. Everybody feel that click? That's the break point. I'm going to ease to reset. Feel that click? That's the reset point. Press, release, press, release, press, release. My finger does not come off the trigger, or in this case here, the point. Now, how long can I do this in a day? How long can I practice this drill in a day? All day long. Okay? So let's do this. I'm going to borrow you for a second because you look like that. Are you a good guy? So what I want you to do, you see this black of the pin? I want you to watch it, and I'm going to slap the trigger. Is that black tip moving? Yes, a smidgen. And so if that's moving, what's the barrel doing? Oh, it's also moving. Now watch that tip. Is that black tip moving? No, not the plunger coming out. I'm talking about this black tip right here. How is it moving? No. So guess what the barrel is not doing? Moving. So many of us, how many of us are right-handed shooters? How many of you aim at the target here and hit down here? That's from doing this. Gun goes bang, you're moving the gun. Okay, you can't move the gun. Bob, how do I stop the gun from moving? Grip it tighter. Push, pull, squeeze as tight as you can. So now there's two other control drills I'm going to give you guys. The first one is I want all of you to take your shooting side hand and open it up like this. I'll just start to press the trigger. Are your other fingers moving? Yes, no, scream, Bob. If your other fingers are moving, you are squeezing the gun and it's going low left. So we have Denver SWAT cops walking around like doing this all day long. So to get you to be able to do that, I want you to make a fist as tight as you can, but keep your trigger finger out. Make your fist as tight as you can. Can you still press the trigger? So people go, oh, if you have such a tight grip, you can't manipulate your trigger finger. I go, really? Let's do it. Tight, make that as tight as you can and press the trigger. Now, guess what's not happening with these other fingers? They're not moving. They can't move because they're already as tight as they can be. So remember in our shooting side hand, how tight do I grip the gun? Very, very, very tight. Now, if I come up and I'm watching a shooter and they're push, pull, squeezing, and then they're doing this with the gun, I'm going to say, okay, back off just a little bit until it stops. But I've never seen anybody over grip the gun. Never seen anybody over grip the gun. So, super, super tight, and then working the trigger. When you go to the range, let's step over here because I'm going to look at these while you guys are down, so I don't miss anything. So the first one here talks about following the specific range rules. Okay, most of the indoor ranges here all the indoor ranges here will make you case and uncase your gun while you're in the shooting booth. You're not going to be able to have your shooting booth here. You're not going to be able to grab your gun, walk up here and set it down. You're not going to be able to do that. So, follow the range specific rules and guidelines. Know the basic range commands. Anybody here been to Ben Avery? Okay, I go to Ben Avery periodically, every so often. I think it's every 45 minutes. They'll call a ceasefire. 15. Every 15 minutes, they'll call a ceasefire, which means you have to lock your slide in the rear, lock your bolt in the rear, step away from the gun, so that now you can go down range and you can change the targets. All right. So make sure you know what that means. Wear eye and ear protection. There are inherent risks with handling and shooting guns. They are loud and brass is flying. To mitigate that risk, we wear eye protection and ear protection. I also like to wear a hat when I go to the shooting range for the sun, plus it keeps brass from falling between my eyes and my face. So I don't want to. Make sure you keep yourself and your guests safe. Okay. So I'm going to stand here in front of you for just a second. What's that say? Yeah, let's be courteous. Okay. Let's be nice to other shooters. How about if we just go out to the desert and shoot? You know, set up some targets and shoot. Yeah, we can do that, but are other people out there, and what are they doing, and is what they're doing safe, and how do I feel around all that? Let's be courteous.
They had a spot here in Lake Pleasant. Did they close that?
I'm not sure.
No.
Okay, okay, not sure. Who here is a Boy Scout? Okay, let's leave the range in a better shape than when we found it. So let's say you go out to that place out in Lake Pleasant and there's shell casings laying around, there's trash. Let's pick up after other people. Let's leave it in better condition than what we found. Let's do that. Ask questions if you don't understand anything, and then clean up when you're done. We just already. Shoot.
Right-handed, left-eyed.
Yep. Great question. A couple of things you can do. One, you can close your left eye, which now makes your right eye dominant. Who asked? You asked a question? Yep. The other thing you can do is you can take your front sight, I'm a right-handed shooter, and I can move it to the other side of my nose, and now it's in front of my left eye. So it's pretty simple with a handgun. Where it gets hard for me is with a long gun, where I have to put it on my shoulder. So firearms instructors have been teaching people to cock their head, to turn their head. That's all crap. If I'm square to my target, all I need to do is move the front sight to that eye. How much did that gun move? Did I do anything crazy with my body? Keeping both eyes open. Or you can close an eye, which now makes your right eye dominant. Or you can just move the gun to the other side of your nose. Now, I have a big nose, so it has to go over pretty far. But if you don't, it's pretty simple. I like to shoot with both eyes open as opposed to both eyes closed. Okay. But I will, if I'm doing a real precise shot, let's say I'm shooting 5 rounds into one hole at 3 yards. From me to you, I'm going to put 5 rounds in on top of each other. I will actually close an eye so that I have a perfect sight picture, okay, to be able to get those 5 shots. Have you tried something else that worked for you?
No, just moving it over.
Yeah,
Usually works.
Yeah.
Still low left, but I know what that is.
That's because you're doing that. Stop doing that.
I got old, not as strong.
Yeah, stop doing that. Okay. So I want you to drive practice. We're going to talk about some fundamental drills, and we're talking about speed and precision drills. So when I do my drive practice, I actually use a CERT gun. This is what it looks like. If you guys are interested in getting a 15% CERT gun, 15% discount on the CERT gun, take a picture of that slide. You can go to nextlevel.com, plug in that super secret discount code at your checkout, and you can get that. Anybody here shooting Block 17-ish, 19? Okay, they have a polymer frame, polymer slide, excuse me, red laser. Discount, it's about $206. How much ammo is that? Well, at C2, they charge $35 for a box of 50 rounds of 9mm full metal jacket. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes, 300 rounds ish. In that top of my head, do you have any math features in here? Okay. So I actually do this. I plug in my coffee pot. I start my coffee. I take my CERT gun out, and I'm going to shoot that book. I'm going to shoot that clock. I'm going to shoot that red square on there. I'm going to come over here and shoot this. And how many trigger presses did I get before my copy was finished? So in a week, less than a week, it can pay for itself. So not a bad idea. They make them for they make a model for SIG P320s. They make a model for Smith & Wesson M&P. They also make a compact. It's kind of a generic version of a Smith & Wesson Shield and a Glock 43. And then they make a Glock 19, which I just picked up.
What does it use? Infrared light?
So what happens is that when you get the break point, there's a red laser that comes out and hits whatever you're aiming at. Okay. So then there's other programs that you can get. I'm too lazy to set up this, and you can have a camera go on a target. You can make a shape. And now when I hit it and the camera sees the red dot hitting what I'm aiming at, it could go, good shot, Bob, or clang, or ding. It's just too much trouble to set up. I just grab it, coffee pot's going, click, 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 and I can do all that. Or if you're more interested in those fun, dry practice things, you can do that.
You gotta recycle the slide.
Nope, slide does not move. That's not a real gun. So no FFL required, and the slide doesn't move. The trigger resets every time. It's got a distinct break point and it's got a distinct reset point. Great question. And so it's not a real gun. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to pause my presentation for a couple of minutes. I'm going to introduce Tracy Berry. Tracy Berry's going to come up. She might have already talked a little bit. Everybody has a pen because they did the ballpoint pen drill.
Okay,
So he stole some pens.
no, that's what I brought him in for.
Yeah. So she's going to come in here and talk to you about the benefits of the training and other things that the USCCA has. She's a subject matter expert in this. So ask her all the questions that you have on everything that she talked to you guys about. Give her your undivided attention for this short amount of time. And then when she gets done, I will tell you she's also my best friend here in the Valley. She's also my best friend here in the Valley. And I will tell you why I became a member of the USCCA, why I think it's very important that you guys also become members of the USCCA.
Thank you.
So you're on, I need to go get a drink. I've been talking for 4 days.
Are you all members back there? None of y'all? Okay, very quickly, I'm just gonna start by passing these out. I am Tracy Berry. I am with Delta Defense. National Service Corps of the United States Concealed Carry Association, otherwise known as the USCCA. How many of you have actually heard of the USCCA before today? Okay, and how many of you are members? Okay. How long have you been a member?
About 2 years.
2 years. What made you join 2 years ago? Training, education, insurance.
Liability insurance.
Insurance. Who joined for my members? Who joined for the insurance? Okay. We live in a litigious society, right? How many of you own firearms? Oh, y'all. How many of you actually carry? Okay. Does anybody carry any other tools on them? I'm talking pepper spray knives, tactical pens, things of that nature. I'm a huge advocate of carrying something on us at all times. Folks, we can't carry our firearms with us everywhere we go. But we absolutely have to have something on us at all times. If you see the way society's tracking currently, it's not tracking in a very good situation, right? And I am the victim of a self-defense incident. I had to learn to carry something on me the hard way. Back in 1994, I had 2 guns pulled on me. I was in college, coming home from a night class, pulled in my carport parking spot as I was getting ready to turn my ignition off, saw something out of the corner of my eyes, looked over, and unfortunately, I had 2 guys with 2 guns pulled at me. I had no training, no education. I didn't have a firearm on me because I'm from San Jose, California. So my firearm was upstairs in my apartment because it legally couldn't be on me. Now, with that said, I used my car as my tool that night. I put it in reverse, and if I ran them over, I hit them, I honestly did not really care. I didn't want to die. Now, when I put it in reverse, they actually went flying out of my way. That way, I went flying the opposite direction to call the police. Now, we didn't have cell phones in 1994, that was a long time ago, right? Now, 1994 and 2024 are 2 very different times in law enforcement for a whole lot of reasons, but one of those reasons is there's a shortage of cops across this country. Phoenix PD is currently at about 800 officers. Average 911 response time is 22 minutes. I live out in Queen Creek. There's a shooting range out there called Ted's. It's the shooting range now. The alarm went off last September at 6 in the morning. The owner was in her pool, didn't get the call from the alarm company. Queen Creek Police took 18 minutes to get to that range. Now my point is we are our own first responders at this moment in time, period. Now, luckily for me, back in '94, the police came quickly, found those guys and arrested them. They admitted they had pulled the guns on me, which we're still on them, but they also admitted that they had been watching my routine for about 6 weeks. Very creepy and very disturbing. I'll be the first to admit that I was very young and dumb. However, that incident put me on my journey almost 30 years ago to be trained and educated, and I will use whatever tool necessary, including my car, to stop the threat and save my life and the life of my 2 kids. Now, we are always told, cooperate with law enforcement, they're there to help us, right? Okay, I work with a lot of cops, active and retired. My brother actually is a police sergeant. They're arriving on scene to do their jobs, guys, and that's gathering information, writing up a report, determining if we're being arrested or released. Now, I actually cooperated with those officers because victims cooperate, right? We haven't done anything wrong. Told them everything that happened, and they told me if I had hit them or run them over with my car that night, I would have been the one in the back of the police car in handcuffs, going to the police station, arrested, and being charged with aggravated assault or vehicular manslaughter. Now, that was in 1994, we live in 2024, and society's gotten better in the last 30 years, don't you all agree? All right. USCCA is known for 3 things, guys: mental, physical, and human preparation. Mentally, we have less than 1.5 seconds to decide we're gonna stop a threat. Takes us to the physical. We actually have to fire off rounds and train. How many of us go shooting at least once a month? Okay, that's not bad. Okay, we have to train because our skills diminish every time that we're not trained. Now, the third aspect of the USCCA is the legal or the self-defense liability insurance. Folks, we could do everything 150% right and still potentially be criminally charged. There is absolutely zero black and white in this arena. It is very, very gray. So I like to inform classes what a self-defense incident actually looks like here in the state of Arizona with a firearm, and it most certainly is not cheap. Say I'm involved in an incident where I unholstered my firearm. I just unholstered it, didn't go bang, I didn't point at anybody, and that's not the threat. That's actually an aggravated assault charge here in Arizona. It's a felony. I'm also looking at a minimum prison term of 7.5 years to a maximum of 22 years in the Arizona State Pen if I'm found guilty. A good attorney-free trial is going to cost me between $40,000 and $100,000 for that retainer up front. Cash, cashier, check or money order. If I end up going to trial, between $200,000 and $500,000, depending on experts and witnesses. Now that's criminal. Now what happens? What do you guys think is going to happen if I would take the life of somebody or injure somebody in self-defense? Civil suits coming my way, right? We're at risk of losing houses, bank accounts, 401ks, pensions, everything that we've worked our whole lives for. So the self-defense liability insurance offered through the USCCA covers criminal and civil. Now, if you take a look inside those brochures, there is a white piece of paper that looks like this. Pull it out. I'm going to quickly go over the 3 levels of membership that the USCCA has to offer. The really great thing about the USCCA's membership is that the self-defense liability insurance coverage is exactly the same on all 3 levels of membership. So it doesn't matter if you choose Gold, Platinum, or Elite, your coverage is the same on all 3. Main difference between those 3 levels are the Protector Academy online training courses, what classes you get, how many classes you get. So all 3 levels of membership do give you no limit defense expenses. On the criminal and on the civil side, it's exactly the way it sounds. There's no limit. Your criminal defense could be $200,000. It could be the $2.7 million Kyle Rittenhouse's criminal defense case actually costs, and there is no limit. Bail is included up to $100,000. Arizona is cash only for bail. You have incidentals being covered up to $20,000. 2 highlights I point out: biohazard cleanup within the home and firearm replacements. Typically, if you use your firearm in a self-defense incident, you can just go ahead and say goodbye to it. It's going to be kept as evidence. That money's good there to replace that. Also included is up to $750 a day for loss of earnings. Now jumping to the civil side, which, let's face it, we all work very hard to acquire the things in life required. We don't want anybody to take that away from us because we were put in a position to defend ourselves or the lives of a loved one. It is the same no limit defense expenses on the criminal side, on the civil side, except the one thing that the USCCA happens to include that no other organization does include are annual damages of up to $2 million. So if you get sued civilly and the insurance company writes the check, or they decide to take it to court and actually they lose in court, either way it doesn't matter because it's the insurance company writing the check for up to $2 million annually. Now on the back side of the form here at the very top where it says Gold, Platinum, and Elite, that's where you're going to get your online training. The Gold will give you 34 plus lessons. They are handgun and marksmanship fundamentals training, as well as children's fire safety training. The Platinum level in the middle is the most popular plan, gives you the first 2 lessons from the Gold. Then you add in first aid fundamentals training as well as defensive shooting fundamentals training. You have that Elite level there on the end. That gives you everything the USCCA has to offer, including the first 4 lessons from the Gold and the Platinum. Then you add in emergency preparedness fundamentals training and countering the mass shooter threat training courses. Now, does everybody in this room have a car? You have car insurance? You own a house? You have homeowners insurance? This is the same premise, whether you're going to carry something on you in public, or if you have a tool in your home for home defense purposes. I tell people this, at bare minimum, everyone that owns a firearm or some sort of tool should have legal level membership. The self-defense liability insurance is the same on all 3. Gold starts at 82 cents a day. 82 cents a day, and we are mentally, physically, and legally prepared. Platinum is $39 a month, Elite is $49 a month. About 3/4 of the way down on the right-hand side of that form, for those of you folks that are married, I recommend adding spouses. Same coverage, same benefits, same resources, your spouse is at half the price though. Right below that spouse add-on, for anyone in the room that is former or active law enforcement, first responders, or military personnel, check the box that applies, and the USCCA does offer a 10% discount as a thank you for your service. Now, the great thing about the insurance is it's not just for firearms, and that is very important to me. I carry pepper spray, a knife, a tactical pen, and a Glock. I also drive a car. I will use anything, including these two things, if that's what need be, but coverage is any lawful act of self-defense with any legal weapon of opportunity. It is also in all 50 states and territories of the United States. How many of us travel outside of Arizona? I have to go to California. Unfortunately, I have a brother and a 7-year-old nephew that live in Oakland, California. For those of you that don't know, Oakland is not the safest place, okay? If something happens to be in Oakland, I want the same level of confidence there or anywhere that I have right here in Arizona. Now, finally, at the very top of the page here, and I love that the USCCA offers this. Don't know of any other company that does. The USCCA offers a 365-day, 100% money-back guarantee. It is exactly the way it sounds. It gives all of you that aren't members currently the opportunity to actually join here with me this morning, and gives you from today until April 10th of 2025. Anytime between now and then you want to cancel your membership, one phone call to customer service. Cancel the membership and then request a full refund. They're actually going to give you all of your money. And they do it for 2 reasons. When people join, they typically stay as members. You've got 6 or 7 members a year. But 2, it does really give you guys the opportunity to check out the training and education that's taught on every single shooting range in the sales department with USCCA. For the training and education, hands down, it is the best self-defense liability insurance that is out there. All right, 2 more things real quick. You're gonna get 8 issues annually. My members will get a big about the magazine. It's awesome. It's an award-winning magazine called Concealed Carry. It offers more training, more education, true life stories from people just like me who thought it's never gonna happen.
Yeah.
Guys, unfortunately, it happens. What they did right, what they did wrong, so that we can all learn from it. Now for the good stuff. When you join with me this morning, you're gonna be the proud owner of a 100% all black plastic ammo can. Please contain your excitement. There's no ammo in it. All right, there's a couple of good things in here. Temporary ID card, permanent one comes in about 2 weeks. Back of the card is what's important. 877 number right there. Post incident instructions. The 877 number is your second phone call after 911. 24/7, 365 takes you to a group called the Critical Response Team. They'll gather your information, reach out to an attorney in the area the incident occurred in, and we'll get that attorney to you on scene or to the police station before you say anything. In the state of Arizona, we have to invoke our right to counsel. Who does not know what that means? Everybody know, use it, all right? There are over 1,200 attorneys across the country that are part of the network, but if you have a good criminal defense attorney, they will also pay for that attorney as well. There is also in here a USCCA Stars and Stripes hat for your head, a patch that says Born to Protect for your gun bag, or another hat. Training is key to winning the fight. I take this book shooting with me. It's 10 drills to improve your shooting skills. Each page of the book has a drill on one side, but it also has a place for you to document your training on the opposite. I'm a fan of the back of the book. We have to be accurate and proficient. So you have your target, you have center target, all the things that are written around center target. That's what we're doing wrong when we're not hitting on center. So if I'm pulling bottom right on my target, look at the book, it tells me I'm tightening my grip when I'm pressing the trigger. I loosen up on my grip and I get right back on center target. There is also in here a shiny silver bullet. It's not lipstick, fellas. All right. USB, pop in the hard drive of your home computer, get more training drills. Now the drills that are on this bullet here go with a yellow Glock 17 training firearm. Use it and treat it like a live loaded firearm. Do those drills, any other drills. Practice drawing from your holster, wherever you keep it in your house, getting it out from that position. Share this with somebody who's not comfortable around firearms. My daughter was 7 the first time I took her shooting. She fired 1 round downrange. She put my firearm down on the bench in front of her and very politely said, Mommy, I'm all done. And I got it. She was 7. I carry a firearm on me throughout my house and get her comfortable and confident around it. But secondly, I work nights and weekends, and if somebody breaks into my house, my kids have to be victims. They will stop the threat with whatever tool necessary, including one of my firearms, to survive that encounter. Gave her the yellow gun, gave her drills. 9 months later, she asked for more training. She actually turned 13 yesterday, and I will put her level at about 55 or 60%. My true end game is that she's 100% by the time she's 16 and driving. I unfortunately have zero faith that society is gonna turn around in 3 years when we certainly have it in 13 or 30 years, so. That is the USCCA. What questions do you all have for me?
I have a question, and
Sure.
let me preface the question by saying
Sure.
I am a member and I think it's a great organization. But
Okay.
one of USCCA's rivals was talking about the liability insurance of USCCA. And they mentioned that if you plead to a lesser charge,
Correct.
then in some cases USCCA has gone back and attempted to get the money back from the customer
So
that they had paid. Is that true?
that's a false statement.
Okay,
The USCCA, so in our insurance, our homeowners, our car insurance, and any insurance we have, there's an exclusion, right, clause.
Yeah.
That if you're copying to a misdemeanor or felony, you're actually you've committed a crime. Same thing with your house. So if you're found guilty of, say, burning down your house, insurance company is gonna come back after you. The USCCA has never, ever gone after anybody. Because,
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Why would you plead to a lesser charge?
yeah,
no, I'm not saying I would, I'm just saying that one of the competitors
So
put
if you,
that out
if
as
you
their
plead to a
advertising.
lesser charge, you are pleading
Guilty, right, then you're
You
gonna
do
lose your
not want to plead
firearms.
guilty.
You lose your firearms.
well, you're gonna lose a lot more than your firearms.
No, no, I mean, you're gonna lose your right to carry, but anyway.
Yeah.
And my point is, some of your competitors are using that
Yeah,
against.
there's
the
one
USCCA.
competitor, his name is Mark Victor, and what he's doing is he's selling his own insurance program, which is a terrible, terrible program, I'm not trying to bash it,
Yeah.
but I don't want Mark Victor, who's an attorney in Arizona, representing me in California. He doesn't know the judges, he doesn't know the prosecutors, doesn't know anything, and he won't cover me civilly, and he has the right to determine if he's gonna represent me or not. Now, if I want all these expert witnesses that are gonna cost $150,000 that the USCCA does pay for, he can just say, no, I'm not gonna represent you. No, I'm not paying for these. Terrible, terrible, read the fine print, but that is a 100% false statement. I've been working with the organization for 6 years, I'm an employee of Delta Defense. They've never gone after anybody. They have to put that clause in there because it is insurance based.
Thank you for clarifying.
Absolutely.
And they will pay for your appeal.
And the, yes, and the USCCA is the only organization that will pay for an appeal. Nobody else will,
So if you are found guilty, they'll pay for the appeal.
which is important because do juries make mistakes? But that's why it's so important to have a really good attorney on there. Yes,
I mentioned to you that we're Washington, so, my membership ended then after I had to get insurance.
Mhm.
But if we're still a legal resident, but we're spending most of our time here and our mailing address and everything is here.
then you can rejoin.
I can rejoin, so how is that are they just going by our mailing address for insurance, or will I not be able to have insurance until I'm legally like
If you're
registered to vote and everything else?
If you have if you have a residence here and you're spending more than 50% of your time here in the state of Arizona, then your membership is covered. Yeah. Anything else? All right, guys, this is what I tell people. It takes less than 2 minutes to fill out the form. I actually will sit here, I will key them in here. You don't have to write your credit card information on that form. I scan your credit card. Your membership is actually effective before I leave here this morning. You're gonna get 2 emails. One is a copy of your receipt. Second email has an authorization code, walks you through how to set up the dashboard, access the training courses, all the other benefits. The USCCA gives a gun a day away. Do my members enter the gun a day giveaway, I hope? Okay, enter it. Even if it's a gun you don't like, enter it. I had 18 calls from people here in Arizona that won last year. It's the check value. So if it's a gun you don't like, go buy the gun you want. All right? Yes, sir.
Just quick follow up on that last question.
Yes.
So I'm a Washington resident too.
Okay.
So I can't do it here or?
So do you spend a majority of your time here in Arizona or up in Washington State?
It's about 50-50.
Yeah.
Do you have a Arizona identification card?
No.
Why? Why not?
Why
Why
would I do
do
it?
we need it?
To be able to buy guns in the state of Arizona.
No, you still can't.
Yeah, you can. With an Arizona ID card and an Arizona concealed handgun.
And with an Arizona residence, all they need is your like water bill or something. You can buy fireworks.
Utility bill.
100%. You're going to the wrong place.
Okay.
One of the big box stores that don't follow the laws.
No, I have an attorney, an attorney that said, they have to follow state laws, so you're the primary resident. And they have to meet the rules, so they can't sell you again, if that's a Washington resident. They could sell you the gun,
But it has to go to the FFL.
and Washington now has a private, it's doing a private one through the state police, and they can't do that. They can't
So
run
her and I
that.
have a really, really good friend. He lives in Colorado, and he has a Arizona ID card at his brother's house in Prescott Valley. He buys guns all day long
And I know people from California that come here and play there.
with an Arizona ID card.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say, I've got I live in California, but I have an Arizona address also. Just get an ID card, and then you can get a,
So get a hold of
concealed carry,
DMV.
and
Get
you
a
can
hold
buy
of-
all the guns you want.
Get a hold of DMV.
He
Oh,
has it.
oh,
He's telling everybody that he lives in
Yeah,
California.
just-
He lives in California, has an Arizona card. And he still.
And then Arizona concealed carry, you can buy guns all you want.
Yeah, I know that it's not necessary to have an actual permit to conceal carry, but if you don't have the permit, it's still recommended.
You don't have to have
this.
You don't have to have a permit to become a member because it's an illegal evidence opportunity. So if I pepper spray somebody and they're an asthmatic, they're dead in about 7 minutes. I'm gonna be arrested and I can guarantee you I'm gonna be sued civilly, and that would be covered. So you don't have to have, there's a lot of really good reasons to get your CCW permit though.
So let's have one more question, because I saw a hand up here, and then I need to carry on.
I tried to get it, I'm from Illinois. I spent probably about 6.5, 7 months down. Last year, they said, we can't give you one, unless you have a birth certificate,
Can't give you one what?
ID card.
Oh,
I says, okay. So this year I tried, and they said they can't do it because if they gave me an ID card, it would cancel out my Illinois driver's license.
that's not true.
And I told them it's not true. He says,
If you got an Arizona driver's license, yes, it would cancel out your.
I really think he just didn't want to do it because it was a busy day.
Okay, so cool.
You can do it, I mean, it's,
Yeah, so let's move on. Those of you that have questions, Tracy can come to your desk and answer your questions. We only have about 10 more minutes. And I have about 6 more slides. So I'm gonna give you guys some drills, but what I want you to do is get your phone out, and I want you to take a picture of these slides, so you have access to this information when you leave. So this first drill is called Aim Small, Miss Small. What movie did it come from? We know. Debbie does gals. Came from a movie called Patriot. Patriots. I've got Mel Gibson is now going to go rescue his eldest son who just got taken prisoner by the British Army. His son was a member of the American Army. They're taking him to the stockade, and Mel Gibson is going to go rescue him. Takes his 2 younger sons, probably 8, 12 years old. His younger sons were marksmen. They've been hunting their entire life. Now they're setting up on the grassy knoll. You guys know the grassy knoll? British soldiers come by with their older brother, and he tells his young sons, aim small, miss small. So I'm going to send Larry, I'm going to send you a PDF of this target. So what you do is you set up this target at whatever distance you want, and you put 5 rounds on top of each other. I can't hold still. On top of that dot, and then you can do that dot. Okay, aim small, miss small is the name of that drill. Next one is called the deviant. So what I want you to do here is we're going to use the big circle. Use the big circle. And with your grip and stance, all I want you to do is just make a circle with your grip. How much am I moving the gun? A lot. I want you to look at the front sight, and I want you to press the trigger, getting an unanticipated hammer fall. Your 5 shots are going to be in that circle, especially at these shorter distances. The next drill, extend, touch, press. In this drill here, you're going to get your proper grip. You're going to extend the gun, bring it up to eye level. You're gonna look at the front sight and you're gonna have very good trigger control, right? Take the slack out, look at the front sight, press the trigger, and then reset the trigger. The up drill, this can be done in your head or with a friend. Every time you get the command of up, you're gonna present, you're gonna fire a number of rounds, you pick the target, you pick the distance. Let's say I'm feeling pretty good today, so I'm just gonna shoot that number 1 circle right there. So again, this target's an 8.5 by 11 sheet paper. I'll send Larry the PDF. He can send it out to the group, and then you guys have my authorization to make as many copies as you want. This is a target that I use when I go to the range. Balance of speed and precision. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fire a number of rounds. Maybe unsighted fire, maybe target focused shooting at the big target, and then I'm going to come and have a hard focus on the front sight and shoot that number 2. So this will be unsighted to sighted fire because I can shoot very quickly because my target's is close, and I don't have to have a hard focus on the front sight at that bigger target, and then I force myself to get that front sight. Cadence drill. This is something that people screw up every once in a while. I want you to shoot in cadence. So set the target up, use whatever target you want, and it goes 1,000 bang, 1,000 bang, 1,000 bang, 1,000 bang, 1,000 bang. And then I go bang and bang and bang and bang and bang. Then I go bang, 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 bang. You only go as fast as your sights. My trigger finger can go super fast, but where are my sights? Who knows, right? So you want to be able to come back and recognize where your sights are, and then you want to press the trigger in cadence. If you can get to 1/3 of a second, bang, 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 that's really good. How long is 1/3 of a second, Bob? A blink of your eyes. That's 1/3 of a second. That first one was probably every second. The second one was half a second. And then that's the time between the bangs. Second, half a second, and then if you get to 1/3 of a second or 0.30 of a second, that's going to be very good. What questions do you have for me about anything that we talked about? Did everybody get pictures of those slides? So what I want you to do is I want you to go to the range and practice with purpose. I'm going to shoot 50 rounds. I've got my box of 50 rounds. I'm going to shoot this drill. I'm going to shoot that drill. And I'm going to shoot this drill. I go to the range so often and people get a box of ammo and they just blast away and they have no purpose behind what they're doing. I want you to have a purpose for what you're doing, so that you can take advantage of those skills with the limited amount of resources that you have. Yes, sir?
Thoughts on laser sights?
The laser projection laser?
No, that's topic.
Oh, so like it's on the screen, it's called a red dot. That's not a laser, that's a red dot. I love them. You guys get to be my age when I can't focus on the front side. Now I can focus on the target. I can put the red dot on the target as I have target focus, carefully press the trigger, and then my bullet will hit that. So all of my carry guns have red dots on them. Okay. So most of the manufacturers now are making guns that have the ability to put those red dot sights on them. So it's not a projected laser, it's a red dot in the screen. I have another friend of mine, he has a green dot because his eye likes green and not red. So one of the manufacturers, I think it's Holson, has that. If I have a projected laser on my gun, this is what it looks like. Bam! Bam! Has anybody ever seen that? Anybody that had one of those? You ever seen that before? So I don't know if they're worth it. For me, they just didn't work well. But they're a cool gadget, but they
don't get bright sunlight, right?
sometimes they don't. Yeah, it's hard to see that unless you're really close. But if you're farther away and super bright daylight, you may not be able to see that.
That's
But
20 feet.
the red dot, you can see that in bright daylight. Yes, sir.
That's 20 feet, you lose it in something.
I'm sorry, what?
That's 20 feet,
The projected laser?
yeah.
Yeah. I'm telling, you guys are all my new best friends. And I have a good friend of mine that works for the company that has projected lasers. Don't buy them. I have a white light laser combo on my home defense gun. I turned off the projected laser. But the white dot, or the white light still works. Any other questions? Great question. The one that's best for you. Because what
Repeat
works
that.
for you may not work for me, may not work for her.
Repeat the question.
The question is, what's the best carry gun? The one that's best for you. Now, USCCA did a study a number of years ago, and they found that the Glock 19 was the most popular gun to carry by their members for personal defense. Now, that survey was done before the SIG 365 came out, 365 macro, and the Glock 48. I love the Glock, my Glock 48. It's the same length barrel as a 19. Who? So anybody here have a Glock 19?
I do.
Same length barrel, same length grip. It's just skinny. So when I wear my skinny jeans, I wear my Glock 48. When I wear my fat jeans, I wear my Glock 19. It's all the same. Yes, sir.
That's first gun.
Best first gun. Try it before you buy it. We've gone down to Shooter's World on Tuesdays, Tactical Tuesdays. You get rent guns for free. Try them before you buy them. And for personal protection, either inside the home or outside the home, you want to carry the largest caliber you can handle. Preferably, probably at least a 9mm. Now, I have a friend of mine, he's 86 years old. He's a World War, I think he's a Korean and Vietnam veteran. Can't handle his well, it actually was a 45. I put a 22 long rifle in his hand and he shot that very well. His 22 long rifle, could that be a good defensive round? Not really, but if he put like 10 bullets into a bad guy, from me to you, it's gonna work, right? So I don't wanna discourage him, you can't carry a gun anymore because you can't handle it. And there's been lots of people injured severely and even died as a result of being shot with a 22. Why? Because people get careless with those guns out on the farm and whatnot. They will be lethal. Yes, sir.
Roll of suppressors.
Say that, what about suppressors?
The roll. When would you get a suppressor, or should everybody have it?
So in Europe, to be able to hunt, you have to have a suppressor. Because they don't want loud noises in the forest. So I carried a suppressor as a police officer. I want to get a suppressor for my home defense gun. Why? Noise. Yeah. So if you want to go through the process of applying for a suppressor, I am not discouraging you from doing that. Go to the gun stores that sell suppressors. They will walk you through the process. Most of it's done online to be able to apply, get your permit process through ATF, and then you can sit and wait. So we're just a little bit past the hour. So I don't know if we have to vacate the room or not. So thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate you.
Is anybody else thinking about joining the USCCA today?
So I'll be outside. If you guys have any questions, I'll be hanging around.
Great.
I think Tracy will be here for a few minutes if you have any questions.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody for coming. Again, no meeting in May. but we'll start again in June. I want to thank USCCA for bringing Bob and supporting him and letting him come to our meeting. So let's thank everybody here and thank you.